Hey, I'm Aja A, and welcome to Sunshine Haze. Don't forget to check out all the links that I have listed down in the description box, and if you like the video, please give me a little thumbs up. If you have any questions after the video is over, feel free to drop them down below. I try to respond to everyone. And if you all know people interested in astrology, numerology, tarot, or whatever I'm talking about on this channel, go on and send them this link. And don't forget to hit subscribe. And of course, thanks for tuning in and rocking with me. May this info help y'all live your best lives. Peace. Hey y'all, welcome to SunshinehazeCo. I'm Aja A. Thank you for tuning in. This is a retrograde video, and I'm excited to be doing this one because this is the last retrograde of the year. We are still in the cluster of retrogrades. We still have some retrogrades that are going to be ending later on in the year, but this is the last one to start. Yes, it is everybody's favorite. It is Mercury retrograde, but Mercury retrogrades are very short, so we only got to deal with this energy for a little bit, just a little bit. It ends next month, okay? So let's get into it. What is a retrograde? A retrograde is actually an optical illusion. It's a time when the planet appears as if it's spinning backwards through the sky, but what's really happening is the planet is direct, right? So it's moving direct, and then it stops, and then it stations retrograde, and then it passes over points that it's already passed back over, and then it stops and it stations direct again. So it looks like kind of like a Z motion, but as far as energy is concerned, when we have the retrograde period, it is literally stopping to reflect and correct before we station direct ourselves and get back going to where we were headed in the first place. Okay, so I like to consider retrograde time reflecting correct time, a time for you to stop, gain a little bit of insight, do some introspective work, you know, just really focus on the things and take a look over the things that you have transpiring and going on in your lives, looking at how your actions are, looking at the way that you're thinking about things, looking at how you're doing things, and then correcting them if need be. So when the planet stations direct, you know, you have all of this knowledge, you've made these corrections, and you can really get the shit popping, right? So Mercury retrograde, everybody's favorite. What is Mercury? Mercury is a planet that governs our communication, our travel, our thoughts, perspective. It also has a little bit to do with electronics as well because those are connected to communication, all right? Mercury is considered a personal planet. It's not a social planet like the outer planets, which are more collective energies. Mercury is personal, so it's going to affect us a little bit more on an individual level in the physical. Things that Mercury tends to touch typically are tangible, like our communication and like our electronics, which I'll talk about a little bit later on in the video, okay? This retrograde is actually passing over two different signs. It's going to start in Scorpio and it's ending in Libra, so we got two different energies that we're working with here for this particular retrograde, but they're going hand in hand, and they're really going to bring some things up, bring some things out, and bring us into balance, okay? Starting on October 13th in 11 degrees, and it's going to be ending on November 3rd, I believe, in 25 degrees. Yes, 25 degrees. I already mentioned that it's passing over two signs. So the first sign that we have it passing over is Scorpio. And Scorpio, if you know any Scorpios, they are very persistent. They carry a very powerful energy. Scorpios are very mysterious and secretive as well. And they are very passionate when it comes to the things that they enjoy doing or the things that they care about. Then we're also dealing with Libra energy. And if you know any Libras an air sign, so they're obviously intellectuals when they're operating on their light side. Libras are very kind, very generous. They're also romantic and they're honest, and Libra resonates with the energy of justice as well, okay? So with Mercury being this personal planet and us having these Libra and Scorpio energies, we're going to be having that incorporated into our day-to-day a little bit more so than they would be throughout the rest of the year dealing with Mercury, okay? And I did want to mention that although the Mercury retrograde is very short, we do deal with a shadow period, so you're probably going to start seeing Mercury-like things, Mercury retrograde-ish things happening a couple of weeks before, starting on September 23rd, and then in the post-shadow going through, I believe, November 19th. Is something happening on November 29th? I don't think anything is. I think something happened on the 29th or something. My birthday was June 29th, but that's not what I'm talking about. What was it? Saturn stationed direct on September 29th. But we'll be out of the Mercury retrograde shadow on November 19th, not the 29th. So a little bit sooner than that. Craziness will be over sooner than November 29th, okay? So I've got two main points here that I wanted to talk about with this retrograde, because I think they're the most important things that we'll be dealing with for the next month and a half, okay? By way of Scorpio, we're dealing with this emotional clarity and release. Scorpio is a water sign. Although Mercury is a planet that carries earth and air energies, Virgo and Gemini, the retrograde is happening in Scorpio, which is a water sign. And anytime that we deal with water, there is this aspect of cleansing, this aspect of washing away what needs to be washed away, okay? And because we're dealing with Scorpio and we deal with mysteries and secrecy, there's analogy, okay? Scorpio hangs out when it wants to in the muddy waters, right? Where things are kind of murky, where you don't really necessarily have this clarity. You can't see through the water. You don't know what's on the other side of it. So with Mercury retrograde reflecting correct, what's going to be happening during this time is these things that are dirtying up our waters, where we're resting in at points, they're going to be washed away. And because it's Scorpio and it's retrograde, it is very possible that they're going to have to get kicked up and come to the surface before they can get rinsed away. Because it's almost like they're caked on the bottom, like they're just packed on the bottom in these muddy waters, and we're just sledging around down there. And with this retrograde period, there's this aspect of, whatever is weighing on us, whatever trauma, whatever emotional baggage we're carrying around, whatever things we are attached to that, one, we're not supposed to be attached to, we're not supposed to be carrying around anymore, things that are heavy to us, that are dense to us, they need to be released so that we're not carrying around this weight, so that we have the strength and the energy to actually pick up the things that we need to pick up on. So the period of October, very possible, because it is water and water is an emotional sign. Who is this? Nobody important, yo. I'm so ready for this election to be over. I'm so sick of getting all these damn text messages to my phone. Like, I am registered, I am voting, I know who I'm voting for. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. They're mailing me my ballot. That I can't do nothing else. Like, leave me alone. Like the census, like, gosh, census people came knocking on my door, and I was like, I'm sorry, you're knocking on my door to ask me if I filled out my census? Like, bruh, if you don't get... I don't like being bothered when it's not warranted, if you guys haven't noticed. Sorry, excuse me, going back into what I was saying. We've got to get rid of and release some things that we've been carrying around, and probably some things that we've been carrying around for quite some time. And so as I was saying, with this Scorpio aspect of this retrograde, we're kicking up the dirty waters and washing them away, right? And what we're doing with the Scorpio energy is preparing ourselves to come into the Libra energy. The reason that we're washing these things away, the reason that we're releasing these things, the reason that we are deciding that we no longer want to carry around the baggage is because carrying around that baggage keeps us out of alignment with living our best lives. Getting rid of this stuff, releasing this stuff, letting the Scorpio waters wash it away is going to bring us into that Libra balance, that Libra alignment with what we're supposed to be doing, what our souls are really called to, what living our best lives look like. So, as these things come up, because they're affecting us with this Mercury planet, it is very possible that it might be a little emotionally turbulent for the month of October going into November, but just try to keep in mind that things are coming up and coming to the surface because they need to be acknowledged and they need to be worked through and they need to be released, okay? And so just be mindful of emotional triggers and be mindful of how you're reacting emotionally too. And, my little Cancer, everything self, like, I feel like a hypocrite telling y'all that because I am very emotional and I react to everything emotionally. But, if you have the knowledge and you can do better, do better. Do better. Don't be like me. Just don't be like me. Excuse me. Okay, the next note that I have here, y'all, is in regards to this Libra energy, and I talked about bringing ourselves into alignment, but also because we are dealing with an Aries full moon at the start of October, and we're also dealing with an Aries Mars retrograde, there is this this point of looking at how we're treating ourselves, looking at how we're taking care of ourselves, coming up with this retrograde too. It's where there needs to be balance. And I was talking about this a lot in those other videos, that retrograde video and the full moon video, that we oftentimes tend to put our energy, our time, and our effort into other things as opposed to putting it into us. And that could be for whatever reason. It might be because you feel like you're okay. It might be because you feel like you have to help people before you help yourself. For whatever reason that may be, but there is a collective energy of everybody needing to take a step back and looking at how we're taking care of ourselves on an individual level, on a personal level. So Mercury retrograde, reflecting correct, bringing in this Libra energy. And keep in mind that Libra is opposite Aries. So looking at where you're putting your energy into the collective, looking at where you're putting it out, what you're putting it into, and then also looking at where it's going into yourself. Are you putting energy into yourself? Are you doing this for yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? And you're going to need to bring in some balance, and that's where the reflect and that's where the correct comes in with this Mercury retrograde as far as that Libra energy is concerned, okay? And then just briefly throwing a little bit more Scorpio energy in there. As we bring ourselves into balance, we have the air energy, the air element of Libra. So there is this intellectual clarity that gives us some insight into how we need to shift the way that we're making moves. Like I said, Scorpio is persistent. Scorpio is very diligent. But, you know, Scorpio don't always be making the correct moves, and that goes for everybody. So with the reflecting correct period, with half of it being in Libra, it's like, okay, looking at how we're making our moves, but also looking at, are they smart moves, and this is going to get me to where I need to be in the time that I want to be there, and how I need to be there, and will I get the results that I'm looking for. So reworking the way that we're making moves, reworking the way that we're putting our energy out into the universe, and also looking at how we're treating ourselves and shifting and fixing. I'll throw fixing in here this time. I know I don't really like to use the word fix when I talk about working on our energy and working on ourselves, but actually really fixing our routines to really give ourselves some self-love and pamper ourselves and self-care, you know? That's important. You can't help anybody else until you help yourself, and everybody is just in a space to where there's a lot going on, and we're not as selfish as we need to be right now. And I know that might sound crazy, but we do need to be a little bit more selfish, because there's just too much energy swirling around out there, and everybody needs to get themselves right before we can do anything collectively, okay? Going into the numerology, this one is intense. So this retrograde, rounding out our 22 universal year, last Mercury retrograde of the year, okay, being in 2 signs, excuse me, starting in intense ass Scorpio in 11 degrees. 11 is a master number, and that is a highly vibrational energy. 11 carries the energy of enlightenment and of healing by way of the arts, you know, but more so we're looking at enlightenment here and healing as far as this retrograde is concerned. Really looking at, as I was talking about that Scorpio energy, really looking at the things that we need to release. It's coming in, and that's what we're coming in strong with. So at the start of the retrograde, I wouldn't be surprised, especially because we're talking about Scorpio here, I wouldn't be surprised if you find yourself cutting yourself off from certain people, removing yourself from certain situations, and not in a hasty way, and also it could possibly be in a hasty way because Scorpio, but cutting yourself off, detaching yourself, cutting your cords from certain situations, and not because you're angry or anything like that, but because you just feel like it's too much. You feel like you've got to remove yourself, and this is happening because there's work that's getting ready to be done, and it's more so, it's gonna come up for you in the conscious, but it's also happening on a subconscious level, okay? The retrograde is ending in 25 degrees in Libra, and with it ending in 25, that breaks down to 7, which is the number of truth, divinity, philosophy, all the things in Libra. So there's this balance. So we're really getting this chance to look at and see what we truly need and truly desire in our lives, and how we really need to be making those moves and taking. What's happening out there? They're picking up trash. I'm like, what is that? What was I saying, y'all? Talking about Libra and 25 degrees. I don't know what I was saying, but this is a time to where we're really coming into this space to where we have this clarity on what we need and what we need to do in order to make the moves we need to make. Why can't I get this sentence out? To put us in the position to be living our best lives. Y'all know that's my slogan, live your best life, and that is what this Mercury retrograde is doing for us. We're getting ready to go into the wintertime after this season, so while we still have this energy of change as we're in the fall season, it makes sense to harness it and take it while we have it, and actually look at the way that we're doing things and look at the way that we're treating ourselves, and look at the things that we need to release so that we can prepare to get ready to go into our new year. It's crazy that I feel so wild saying that, because I feel like I didn't do anything this year, because I didn't, but the year is almost over. COVID. All right. What else do I got here for you guys? Mercury retrograde. I have this one. Might be a doozy. Water and air toss. That's literally what the energy might be. But because you're hip to what's going to be going on, when these things kind of start to sprinkle in, start to come in for you, you can kind of get a grip on them and not be as affected by them. But also just keep in mind that on the shadow side, Libra is aloof, Libra is confused, Scorpio is vindictive, Scorpio is hella sneaky, and so just be mindful of those energies as we move through this retrograde period, because there are things that we're reflecting and correcting. We're not trying to be petty, we're not trying to be out here tossed, so just be mindful of how you're moving, also be mindful of how other people are moving, and honestly, just keep it cute during this retrograde. That's really what I have to say about it. Like, I would not be trying to do too much during this time, because the way the energy is set up, like, you will find yourself out here really tossed, blowing in the wind, tossing in the waves, and that's just not the place to be right now. Okay. Okay. What else do I have here at notes on Mercury retrograde? Travel. As we all know, with Mercury retrograde, travel plans get really messed up. However, because we're having this retrograde in a water sign and an air sign, be mindful of traveling by boat and by air. I was like, dang, I really want to take a trip. Y'all know I work for an airline. I was like, I want to go somewhere, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm going to cool it. I could kick it. I'm good. On a collective level, we may definitely see, because we are dealing with Scorpio and things coming to the surface, truths coming to the surface, we may definitely see some weird stuff happening with like the airlines and like the cruise industries, or possibly see like some weird like disappearances with like airplanes and boats or something. Or because it's retrograde season, it is very possible. I keep thinking, what is it, MH370? Please forgive me if I'm wrong about the flight number, but some information about some missing airplane or missing boat might come up during the next month or so, or some like key piece of information, some key like missing object or like black box or something. I don't know. I be watching mad, like, it's crazy. I work for an airline, and I do this to myself. I set myself up for failure. I watch a lot of like airplane crash YouTube videos, because I'm just curious, because they say air is the safest way to fly, but I'd be like, let me see about that. let me be the judge of that. But when it's safe to travel, I really be everywhere. So I am a very contradictory person. Pay me no mind. But just be mindful of that type of travel, and also just peep in the news. Some things might be popping up. Technology, get some screen protectors. Protect your devices. Also, Scorpio, and because it's retrograde period, anything private in your files, save it, lock it, password, protect it. Just, you don't want your titties on the internet. That is just listen, don't send no nudes. Oh boy, don't send no nudes during retrograde season. Don't do it. Oh gosh. What else do I have for y'all here? Actually, we're good. What else do I have for y'all here? Save your work. Save your work. Because we also have Libra energy here, anything that has to do with writing or any research, like research papers, any writing, anything like that, save your work and save it to multiple places. Back it up. Mercury retrograde does not come to play with anybody, and it sucks, but like, you know, you will find yourself missing a whole paper that you spent like hours writing that's due tomorrow. So just be careful. Triple save your work. Every time you save it, be like, that I do that. I've done that my whole life. Save, and then you go out and type the rest of the paper. Save, and then you type the rest of the paper. That is how diligent you got to be with backing up your work and protecting your work during this Mercury retrograde because of Libra. We're blaming Libra for that part and Mercury for that part. And that's all I got for you. It is the last one. It's about to be kind of crazy probably. There are definitely going to be some things coming to light. Keep in mind we are in election season. Truths surfacing because especially the degree that it's ending in, and because of Libra, justice, and because of Scorpio, mystery, things are going to definitely be coming to light, and we're for sure going to see it in this election. You know, Trump being in the papers every day with some stupid, but you know, Biden, there are going to be some secrets that come out about Biden. I'm just gonna put that out there for y'all, and also keep in mind, because it is reflecting correct period, as the United States is one of the only places in this world that couldn't seem to get the shits together with this pandemic, I would not be surprised if they shut us down again. We may have to shelter in place again, and it might be a little bit more serious this time. Scorpio and Libra and Mercury and yeah, so just right now start preparing, please don't go buy up all the tissue again, but like start stocking up for the winter time, and just be on your P's and Q's with everything, y'all. We're not really gonna get a break with the type of energy that we've been dealing with this year. We might get a little bit of a breather towards the end of the year, but once we hit like the end of the winter time in 2021, going into the springtime is when things might start to look a little bit better. But as for right now, shit's just gonna be wild. Just keep that in mind. It's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff going on in the cosmos and in the physical, and the election is gonna be wild. And man, just brace yourselves, but also protect yourselves, okay? And do this reflecting and correcting, and give yourself some love during this month of October and the month of November, because that is what's coming in. That's what's being shown to us, all right? And that's really all I got for you. Watch all the videos. The retrograde series is plugged below. We got Mars retrograde happening during this month. That one's important. And Saturn retrograde, because we just ended that one. I would watch that one as well. October pick a card spread and monthlies for all of the signs are up for everybody on time. I'm so excited. I recorded everything like 3 weeks before because I was like, look, Mercury ain't taking my ass out this time. So all y'all's videos are going up on time over October. And what else? The full moons and the new moons for these 2 months, check them. They're down below. And that's really all I got for you. Good luck. I will catch y'all next time. Peace.